If you can't focus anymore, it's not because you got weaker, it's because the internet quietly trained your brain like a lab rat, and you were the one pressing the lever. Here's the wild part: your attention didn't disappear. It got hijacked, chopped into bite-sized pieces, and sold back to you as content. And nobody talks about this without either blaming you or telling you to meditate on a mountain for 14 years. So let's do the real psychology. Simple, validating, slightly brutal. You open your laptop to do something important. One task, one tab. 30 seconds later, you're somehow reading comments on a video you don't even like, with 7 tabs open, a half-written sentence in your doc, and a strange emotional fog that feels like you're mentally chewing gum. You want to focus, but your brain keeps pulling the emergency brake. You feel guilty, then you try harder, then you fail faster. Plot twist: trying harder often makes it worse because you're fighting the wrong enemy. You're not lazy, you're not undisciplined. You're a modern human living inside a system that rewards distraction. Your brain evolved to notice novelty, social cues, and potential threats. The internet is basically a casino that can read your mind and change the lights every second. Research suggests the average person checks their phone dozens of times per day, not because they're weak, but because the habit loop is engineered to be sticky. But it gets deeper, because what you call bad focus is often a stack of psychological mechanisms working exactly as designed. Let's break it down into 4. Your brain doesn't just love rewards, it loves unpredictable rewards. That's variable reinforcement, the same thing that makes slot machines terrifyingly effective. The feed is the lever. You scroll and think, maybe the next one is good. Maybe a laugh, maybe a shock, maybe validation, maybe something useful. And your brain goes, yes, again. Over time, deep focus starts to feel boring. Not because it is boring, but because it doesn't spike dopamine the same way. Here's the wild part: boredom is not a flaw. It's the doorway to depth. But the internet trained you to treat boredom like an emergency, so you escape it instantly. And your brain learns, we don't stay, we switch. That's attention residue. Leftover cognitive stickiness from the previous task. So you bounce from email to message to video to doc to notification, and you're not fully present anywhere. You're mentally dragging a suitcase through every room. Then you sit down to do deep work, and it feels like your brain is buffering. Not because you can't focus, but because you're trying to focus with your attention still smeared across 10 micro-worlds. But it gets deeper. This constant switching also messes with your nervous system. Focus needs the right level of activation, alert but not frantic. The internet pushes you into a state of constant mini-arousal. Tiny surges of emotion, novelty, outrage, curiosity, comparison. Not enough to fulfill you, just enough to keep you clicking. So your brain becomes like an IMAX screen playing 10 trailers at once. Loud, flashy, no storyline. And deep work is a slow burn documentary. It starts quiet, it builds meaning. When your brain is trained on trailers, the documentary feels wrong for the first 10 minutes. That discomfort is not proof you're failing. It's proof you're detoxing from stimulation. And nobody talks about this part. The restlessness you feel when you try to focus is often your brain begging for the next hit. Self-determination theory says you thrive when you feel autonomy, competence, and connection. The internet messes with all 3. Autonomy. Algorithms choose what you see. Competence. Endless comparison makes you feel behind. Connection. Lots of contact, not always real closeness. So you end up in a loop where you don't feel fully in control, you don't feel good enough, and you don't feel truly connected. Your brain, trying to regulate that discomfort, reaches for the easiest relief: more scrolling. Plot twist: a lot of I can't focus is actually emotional regulation in disguise. Not focusing isn't always a productivity problem. Sometimes it's a safety problem. Let's be honest, the internet isn't evil. You can learn, connect, relax, laugh. Healthy stuff. The line is this: healthy use. You choose it. It serves you. You can stop. Avoidance use. It chooses you. It numbs you. It becomes a mask. Avoidance often sounds like, I'll just check one thing, but it's really, I don't want to feel the discomfort of starting. Because starting exposes you. It forces you to face uncertainty. And your brain goes, nope, let's watch something instead. You're not broken, you're protected. But it gets deeper. Because the fix isn't just have more willpower. It's retraining your attention like a skill. 1. Create friction for distraction. Make distractions slightly harder than focus. Move tempting apps off the home screen. Log out of social apps. Use website blockers during work blocks. Keep your phone in another room for 30 minutes. Tiny friction changes behavior more than motivation does. 2. Do a 2-minute landing. Your brain needs a runway. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Open the doc. Write a bad first sentence. Outline 3 bullets. Do the first microscopic step. Most people don't need discipline to do the whole task. They need a bridge into it. 3. Single task in short sprints. Start with 15 minutes of single tasking. Not forever, not heroic, just clean. When your mind wanders, don't punish it. Return it like you're training a puppy. Calm, consistent, no drama. 4. Replace the reward. After the sprint, reward yourself. Walk, stretch, music, water, coffee. Train your brain to associate focus with relief and satisfaction, not with endless suffering. Here's the wild part. Your brain learns fastest when it feels safe and rewarded. So if you can't focus anymore, you're not broken. You're trained, and training can be undone. Your attention is not a personality trait. It's a muscle. And right now, it's been forced to do jump rope all day instead of lifting heavy. But this trait usually connects to one more behavior. The way you handle silence, because many people who can't focus also can't tolerate stillness. And that's why your brain also does something else that people misunderstand. It confuses peace with emptiness. That's our next video. What's your biggest focus killer right now? Notifications, multitasking, scrolling, just to relax, or procrastination anxiety? Drop your answer in the comments. One word is enough. Subscribe for the next episode. The psychology of people who don't need validation. Because when likes, replies, and approval stop being your oxygen, you finally become unshakable, and we'll break down the mindset mechanics behind that.